In this video, I am going to cover Julia programming language starting from scratch and tell you everything about Julia that you need to know at this stage at least. Let's start that. So as usual guys, we are going to see what are the topics we are going to learn as part of this video. Okay, so first of all, why learn Julia? Okay, then we are going to understand installing Julia. Then we are going to see basics of Julia as a programming language, which means how to declare variable, how to run loops, how to write functions, etc. Then we are going to see packages in Julia, how to do the package management in Julia, and we are going to understand one very important concept of Julia known as multiple dispatch. Okay, so remember these keywords, guys. This may be asked to you in the interview. So we will see what is multiple dispatch in Julia. After that, we are going to see the speed test in Julia, and I'm going to tell you what to do with your resume so that Julia keywords get picked from your resume. Okay, so I'm going to tell you what are the next steps you should do with Julia as a language. Okay, first of all, why learn Julia? Okay, and what is the need of learning Julia, and why I'm creating a dedicated video on this topic, right? So basically, if you see the languages like C and C++, right? These are known for its speed. Okay, these are known for its speed. The languages like Python, right? These are known for ease of use. Okay, ease of use. And the languages like R, right? These are known for, yes, you guessed it right. These are known for statistical methods and support for all those statistical techniques. Okay, so I will write here statistical methods, etc. support. Okay, the founders or creators of Julia, what they thought is they wanted to combine the speed of C, C++, ease of use of Python, and then statistical, mathematical, and scientific computation capabilities of R and tools like MATLAB, etc. Okay, so where does Julia come into picture? Basically, Julia as a programming language tries to give you an intersection of, if you call this block as C, C, C++, if you call this block, I'm sorry, if you call this block as, let's say, Python, okay, Python, and if you call this block as, this circle as, let's say R, then Julia comes somewhere here, which tries to give you all the good capabilities of these languages independently. Okay, let's go to the Wikipedia page of Julia once and try to see what does Wikipedia says about Julia. So uh, let's go here, Julia programming language. As you can see, Julia is a high level general purpose dynamic programming language. High level because it has to be easy to use. General purpose because it has to be flexible. It should be capable to be used in multiple ways. And then dynamic programming because you know it should be capable. We should be able to do complex computation, complex task with this. Okay, and then what it says is distinctive aspects of Julia design include a type system with multiple dispatch that I was talking about. Okay, this is basically the definition of this language. Now to keep it very, very simple, if you read this one line, right, then you will understand why Julia was created. Okay, so there are four gentlemen. These are the names of the gentlemen, and they wanted to create a free language that was both high level and fast. Okay, so Julia is high level, which means you need to write less codes, and then fast because it has to be capable and fast. Okay, enough of the introduction. Now, why are we focusing on Julia? Basically, if you see the Google trends here, right? I have fetched the Google trend of last 5 years, and you can see after 2021, you can see the upward trend here. Ignore these downfalls a little bit because of year end and all. But if you see overall, it's a kind of upward trend from here, and it is expected to go more upward as well. There are reasons for that. Okay, reasons for that is, as I told you, Julia is a powerful and easy to use language. Okay, hence it is expected to go up. That is about basics of Julia, and this picture keep in mind, and keep in mind what it is trying to achieve as a language. Okay, the second thing that comes into picture is how to install Julia. So nothing you have to do, it's very, very simple. You have to simply go and say Julia download in Google. At the moment you say Julia download, right, it will take you to this page, and simply click on this installer window. It will some 100 or 150 MB file it will download for Windows. I did it. And what may happen is you will get a different options based on Linux or Mac OS or Windows. But for Windows, it's pretty simple. You just double click and install. Remember to set the path variable also when you are installing. Okay, so I installed it. It's pretty simple, nothing to show there. It's pretty simple. Double click and installation like a normal software. Okay, once you install, and as I told you, remember to give a path variable, otherwise you will not be able to directly use Julia command. Then you have to go to the command prompt like this. I'm inside my command prompt, and since I have set my path variable, so I can directly go and say here Julia. Okay, at the moment I say Julia, you will see Julia console opens up like this. And now let's go ahead and try to see some basic terminologies of basics of Julia as a programming language. Okay, so I'm going to say a is equal to 10, and this variable a gets declared like this. So it's pretty simple like Python. Now I have put here some codes which will help you to understand how to work with Julia basic programming. Okay, so what I'm doing here, this is very compact some codes I have put just to let you know how to work with this language. Okay, here I'm declaring an array. If you see, it says 3 element vector of int64 type 5, 10, 15 are the elements of this. Okay, so this is basically an array declaration. I will just cover some of the important things that you should know in a programming language. Okay, so I will not go into all the different types of variables and data types, etc. Just few things so that you can connect the dots. Okay, so here I am declaring an array. If I go here in this part, right, from here to here, I'm trying to run a for loop here. Okay, for I in 0 to 0 colon 5 colon 50. So as clear from the name, it will go till 50 and take the gap of 5 5. And in the end, I'm writing an end to say to Julia that my instructions have ended here. Okay, this is basically a for loop that you write. Now from Control L, I cleared this usual process. Now let me go to my note and write a simple function here. So I'm writing a simple function here. As you can see, f Aman, this becomes a generic function with one method. If you see generic function with one method, okay. Now I can call this Aman with some value, okay. So for example, if I say f6, the output I should get is 6 cross 6, 36. So this is a one-liner function that I'm defining here. I can define little complex function also like this. So I will go here and say it like this. And if you see, I'm just, imagine a cricket match. I'm just saying if the run scored is less than 50, then it will return poor. If more than 50, it will return good. And I'm saying end because end is something that you tell to Julia to let Julia know that your instructions have ended. Now I want to call that function. I will go here and say performance 6. So if some batsman scores 6 runs, then I think spelling mistake is there. Performance 6. So it will be poor. And if I say 60, then it will be good. So from here to here, I've defined a function. I showed you two functions. One is basic function, one is little logic including function. Okay. So these are some basic syntaxes of Julia. Now I want to show you one very important thing that is known as package management in Julia. Okay, so suppose I want to work with CSVs, or I want to work with Excel files, or I want to work with data frames, then how do I go and get those packages? Okay, so from here also we can do, but I'm going to show you through the package manager. So what you have to do is you have to press this symbol that you see here, bigger bracket symbol here, and it will direct go to package manager. Okay, once I'm inside the package manager, right, what I can do is I can install some packages. Okay, but as of now, what packages I have, if I want to see, I will say st. Okay, in st it will tell me that I have this CSV package. St means status. Okay, so I have the data frames packages, I have the package utils. So these are the packages which I already have. Okay, now let's say I want to remove rm and CSV. I think this should remove that CSV package. Okay, and if I do one more time st, then CSV is gone. Now suppose I want to get CSV package back. I'm just trying to show you how to get a package in Julia. Okay, so here what I can do is add example. Okay, in place of add example, I will say add CSV, whichever package I want, add CSV. Okay, because this is one package I want. So what will happen is, just like in Python, you do a pip install or conda install, right? So it will get the package from the source. And once you have that package, then I'm going to show you now how to use that package. Okay, so this entire thing that I'm knowingly showing you is a part of package management in Julia. Remember, packages are pretty important. The reason for that is, end of the day, you have to marry different platforms together. So which means you have to marry Julia with Python, and you have to marry Julia with R or other platform where your code is, or in which language your code is. Okay, that's the reason you should know how to get those bridges, how to get those links that will allow you to do all these things. Okay, now I got the CSV package, so I will go and say st, and CSV package is with me. Okay, suppose I want to use this package. So now I'm inside the package manager. I want to come out of this package manager, so I will press Control C. I will come out of this package manager. Now I'm in Julia console, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to say use CSV package and read a CSV file. Okay, so for example, here I had done some experimentation. So I will say using CSV. Okay, using CSV. Using means I want to use that package. Okay, I can also give a comma and say using data frames, but here I'm giving two different instructions. Okay, so CSV is one and data frames is other that I'm trying to use here. Fine. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to read a file from my desktop. So on my desktop, there is a file called ufo.csv. This file I want to read as a data frame, and I'm going to store in this data variable. Okay, let me do this here. There is some error. Okay, so what I need to do is same error that is that you most of you would be aware of, this Python error, right? So same error here as well, because of special character problem, right? ASCII, etc. Now it is reading that CSV file that is on my desktop. I have used two libraries or packages. One is called CSV, one is called data frames. Once the read is successful in the data variable, I should be able to see my file. Okay, so as you can see here, the file is being read from my desktop, and it is in this data variable, and this is what it is printing, and 7 rows and these columns omitted. So just like your pandas data frame, you can think like that. Okay, so this is about how you play around with some of the packages. Now based on what you want to do, you would be wanting to use different packages as well. Now I'm going to show you one important package that I want you to explore more on. There is something called as Psyit Learn.jl. Okay, Psyit Learn.jl means, as you can see here, Psyit Learn.jl bring the capabilities to Julia. So which means that Scikit Learn Python Scikit Learn capabilities in the Julia. So my request to you is do some experimentation on how this works, and get the ball rolling in the Python plus Julia world. Okay, so I leave it to you to practice. Let me move ahead with other topics. Okay, so what all I have in my code is, I told you about something known as multiple dispatch in my introduction. Okay, so we have covered this basics of Julia packages and multiple dispatch. Point number 5 is what I wanted to discuss with you, because this is one term that may be asked to you in the interview if you mention Julia. Okay, so what this multiple dispatch does is, your one function can have different methods, and based on how you call that function, right, that particular method will be called. Okay, please try to understand this. Your one function can have multiple methods, and based on how you call the function, system will make a judgment that which method it has to call. Let me give you one example, and it will be very clear to you. Suppose this is function foo. Okay, in function foo, I'm writing one method here. Okay, in the same function foo, another method here. In the same function foo, another method here. So same name function, but three different ways. So if you see here, let me copy this first. Let me copy this. Same function. Where is my Julia console? Here. So let me run this, okay? And if you see here, previously when I defined a function, it said generic function with one method. Now it says generic function with three methods. Okay. What is the meaning of this is, now the same function I can call with different arguments and this function will behave differently. Let's see the example. For example, if I pass a number here, let's say 12, a number was passed. So which method was called? This method was, I'm sorry, the second method was called. Okay. So if I say foo 12, then a number was passed. If I say foo 12.4, then a float value was passed. And if I say foo minus 12, a number was passed. So I want to get the first output actually where it says unsupported type. So let me pass a string actually. So foo and let's say Aman, unsupported type. So what we can see here is same function is behaving differently in different circumstances based on with what you are calling the function. Okay, this concept in Julia makes Julia very powerful. If you see here in the Wikipedia page, right, it was saying it has the capability of multiple dispatch. So if you see here, Julia design include a type system with parametric polymorphism. I'll not go into more details, otherwise it may confuse some of you. We can discuss if you are interested, okay? And use of multiple dispatch, okay? So that is what I explained you now. That is one very critical part which makes Julia special, okay? So that is about multiple dispatch. Now let's do some let's run some code and try to see how fast Julia works on those code pieces. So for example, if I'm going to, if you say at time, it will give you how much time it took to run that. So I'm taking 5,000 numbers here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to just write a simple logic. If it's a even number, then print me the number, okay? So for example, what I'm saying is for I in I to 5,000, if it's an even number, then give me the square of the number basically. So as you can see 0.49, not even 1 second. Let me increase the number. Okay, I mean the iteration basically. So let me increase two more zeros and see what happens here. So what I wanted to show you is you can take the same code and run in Python and compare how it is faster than Python. Okay. What I have covered here is basics of your Julia installation, basics of what is Julia, how to run Julia, how to do simple computation, etc. in Julia. But I'm going to tell you something important here. Uh, what should you do next and how should you take advantage of whatever I have covered? Okay. First of all, what you should do is you should practice little bit of Julia more. Okay. So I have given you an introduction. If you go and search on Google, you'll find many materials. Okay. So first of all, practice more. Okay. Once you do this, I'm not telling you to do complex projects in Julia and all. Just practice little bit more from here. Okay. Once you do this, what you have to do is in your resume, include the keyword Julia. Okay. And if you have two different sections of expertise, is one section, let's say this programming language you say you are expert in, and this programming language you say you have exposure to. Okay. So the programming languages where you say you are expert in, for example, you can say Python I'm expert in, R I'm expert in. And here you can say Julia I have exposure to. Okay. And something else, maybe any language that you think is trending and you should include that keyword in your resume. You can say ABC, XYZ, whichever language it is, you can say I have exposure to this. Now, how it will give advantage to your resume is multiple ways. First is if some recruiter is searching with this keyword, obviously that shows in your resume, which does not show in others' resume. And in your organization, in your colleges, whenever you are doing some projects, whenever you are attending some interviews, right? So if you mention something which is trending and which is in one way language of the future, in one way famous in the data science community, that is always beneficial. So you can say that I know Julia. you no need to be an expert. You can just say that I have done 1 or 2 use cases in Julia, simple use cases. I know how Julia works. Okay. Up to that level, please come, include that in the resume and go from there. Okay. I can of course create more videos on the same Julia topic and take different things that can happen inside the Julia. I can show you a marriage of Julia plus Python or Julia plus R, combination of how scikit-learn.jl works and tensorflow.jl works. All these things we can cover. If you are interested, please drop a comment and we'll go from there. Okay. I'll see you all in the next video, guys. Wherever you are, stay safe and take care.